Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. I hope the week's gone well. Let me start with a photograph I took of Nairobi this morning from the 19th floor in Teleposta Towers. I tagged it, "This is Nairobi," which indeed it is. Macro thoughts: China bears say the capital outflow is just beginning. I don't think they're wrong. Home thoughts: the power of nature. Colima volcano in Mexico explodes at night with lightning, ballistic projectiles, and incandescent rockfalls. This photograph is by Sergio Tapiro and is part of the World Press Photo Competition of 2016. It's so much darker when a light goes out than it would have been if it had never shone. John Steinbeck. And the little screaming fact that sounds through all history: repression works only to strengthen and knit the repressed. Listen to this: a sad soul can kill you quicker, far quicker than a germ. If a girl looks swell when she meets you, who gives a damn if she's late? J.D. Salinger, The Catcher in the Rye. Still one of my favorite books. Pontifex threw a punch at Donald Trump. A person who thinks only about building walls wherever they may be and not building bridges is not Christian, he said. Donald Trump gave a very intemperate response. I think he would have been wiser to be more Sun Tzu. Welcome to the comments of the Pope, because the Catholic community is a big one in the United States. President Xi Jinping is seen here visiting the headquarters of the People's Daily, the flagship newspaper of the Communist Party of China. You'll notice quite often the most strident comments coming out of the People's Daily. Hope for a new life. Migrants crossing the border from Serbia into Hungary. Very powerful photograph. Kurds warn Turkey of a big war with Russia if troops enter Syria. Russia has promised to protect Kurdish fighters in Syria in case of a ground offensive by Turkey, a move that would lead to a big war, the Syrian group's envoy to Moscow said in an interview on Wednesday. We take this threat very seriously because the ruling party in Turkey is a party of war, said Rodi Osman, head of the Syrian Kurds' newly opened representative office, said in Kurdish by a Russian interpreter. Russia will respond if there is an invasion. This isn't only about the Kurds. They will defend the territorial sovereignty of Syria. We are continuing to liberate our territory and would go faster if it wasn't for Turkey, Osman said. Russian warplanes are providing support for the Kurdish offensive, which is aimed at securing full control of the Turkish border, while Russia has also been promised to support the Syrian Kurds' goal of federal status, he said. Russia said it is helping the Syrian Kurds militarily, and Nikolai Kovalyov, a former head of the Federal Security Service, the main successor to the Soviet KGB, said that Russian jets would bomb Turkish troops if they enter Syria. Maria Zakharova, who's the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman, said any foreign incursion into Syria would be illegal, and the Russian response would depend on the situation. Russian airstrikes in northern Syria are succeeding in driving out the Turkish-backed rebels, she told a weekly briefing in Moscow on Thursday. The Syrian Kurds are trying to create a Kurdish autonomous region in northern Syria by uniting two territories separated by about 100 kilometers of land controlled by Islamist rebels, according to Anton Lavrov. That is the Syrian Kurds' dream and the Turks' worst nightmare, Lavrov said by phone. Davutoglu said on Thursday that Turkey can't excuse any NATO ally, including the US, of having links with a terrorist organization that strikes us in the heart of Turkey. I think Turkey has played a very, what would I call it, sly hand in Syria. And I think this goes back to that tripwire that Erdogan set up for the President of the United States to start bombing Syria. That was the chemical weapons false flag, which I think was undertaken by the Turkish intelligence forces, and then they tried to pin it on Syria. That's one component, and I think there have been several of these. And therefore, I personally sympathise with the Kurds. I think, why, if everyone else wants a homeland, why can't they have one, frankly? Or at least some kind of federal system. Let's move on. Charisma and control give Museveni advantage in Uganda election. That's FT's John Aglionby. Flavia Nagadia has no doubt that Yoweri Museveni deserves another term as Ugandan president despite holding power for 30 years. People's lives are getting better. They're moving into the middle class, says the housewife, who is so enamored with the former guerrilla fighter that last year she joined the ruling national resistance movement in her hometown of Mukono, 30 kilometers from the capital, Kampala. In every household there are mobile phones, televisions, radios, and none of them were there before 1986. It's the president we have to thank for this. We need stability to keep moving forward. Some analysts believe Mr. Museveni's tactics are not only unnecessary but counterproductive, particularly as the economy has performed better than many in Africa. He is more popular than his party or his government, said Bernard Tabere. Whenever people complain about his government losing steam or being terrible, they won't blame him. He still has an ability to connect with a sizable proportion of the population. The group he has struggled to relate to is the youth. Some fear this could be his undoing because 80% of Ugandans have been born since he took office, and the population is one of the fastest growing in the world. This is a challenge for many incumbents. If you didn't see President Museveni when he came to Mindspeak, that link is on the website. I'll put up a photograph that K24 TV tweeted, and also one that France 24 tweeted. It was the second day of voting in chaotic Uganda elections. A couple of things I noticed when you looked at the official declaration of percentages. If you added them all up, they went over 100%. The president's running in around 63%. It seems quite elevated. I think it would have been tighter than that. China needs to strengthen its self-defense of the South China Sea in the face of more frequent provocations from the US military. This is the Global Times. Jet fighters from the United States, an outside country, may feel uneasy when making provocative flights in the region. To us, that's a proper result, instead of the reported missile deployment. Chinese are getting serious at fending off the pivot. Let's see how the pivot cares to respond now. OECD cuts global growth forecast and warns of growing risks. The OECD cut its global growth forecast, saying the economies of Brazil, Germany, and the US are slowing, and warning that some emerging markets are at risk of exchange rate volatility. GDP will expand 3% in 2016, the same pace as in 2015, and 0.3 percentage points less than predicted in November. Financial stability risks are substantial. Some emerging markets are particularly vulnerable to sharp exchange rate movements and the effects of high domestic debt. Stock markets have plunged. China's growth is now pegged at 6.5% this year and 6.2% in 2017. The OECD says a stronger collective policy response is needed to strengthen demand. Monetary policy cannot work alone. Fiscal policy is now contractionary in many major economies. Structural reform momentum is slowed. All three levers must be deployed more actively to create stronger and sustained growth. Among major economies, Brazil is the only one currently in recession, and it's a recession that is proving deeper and more prolonged than predicted. South America's biggest economy will shrink 4% this year, the OECD said. The US is facing an intensification of headwinds, including the drag on exports from the stronger dollar and energy sector investment from low oil prices. Interesting piece in Bloomberg about how currency managers throw out the playbook as trusted models fail, saying that they've had to adopt their foreign exchange strategies. Trend following, carry momentum, don't prove a profitable path. And they're showing the dollar yen, for example, not really following moving averages. Have a look at that. Let's move on to the currency markets. Euro dollar 110.86, fallen from 111.24 when I walked in early this morning. Dollar index 96.72. Dollar yen 113. Swiss franc 0.9913. The pound 143.04. The Aussie 0.7108. India rupee fresh all-time low 68.612. South Korean won 12.3369, the Rial 402.81, Egyptian pound 782.96, South African rand 15.44.63, and the rand's been firming because expectations post that CPI print are that they're going to have to hike rates come what may. Dollar index, I'll put up a 3-month chart. That's come down a little bit. Looks fair value now. Let's keep an eye on it. I think it turns higher. Euro dollar. Draghi continuing to drag it down. I'll put up a 3-month chart. We're now at 110.86. What a fantastic photo this is from the World Press Photo. Sunbather, oblivious to the ominous shelf cloud approaching on Bondi Beach, Australia. Have a look at that photograph. Gold is now trading at 1222.25. Put up a 6-month chart, and then I also put up a chart that Holger tweeted, gold poised for best month in 4 years on fears of a fresh banking crisis. Of course, when tail risks are elevated, gold finds itself. Javier Blas tweeted yesterday and during the day, importantly, Brent oil is above the 50-day moving average, although still quite below the key 100-day moving average. Put up a 1-month chart of crude oil. This is April crude oil in New York, trading around $32.63. Key resistance on that is around 34, 35. Global warming crushes records again. Have a look at the chart. I'll take you back to something I wrote on the 23rd of November when I said, I cannot help feeling we are like frogs in boiling water. We have created massive interference in the cosmic tuning phenomenon. WMO, which is the World Meteorological Organization, says that the exceptionally strong El Nino has passed its peak, but impacts continue. Eastern Central Tropical Pacific Ocean surface temperatures were more than 2 degrees Celsius above average in late 2015, providing evidence that the 2015-2016 El Nino is one of the strongest on record, comparable with the 1997-98 and 1982-1983 events. It is too early to establish conclusively whether it was the strongest. We have just witnessed one of the most powerful ever El Nino events, which caused extreme weather in countries on all continents, helped fuel record global heat in 2015. In meteorological terms, this El Nino is now in decline, but we cannot lower our guard as it is still quite strong, and in humanitarian and economic terms, its impacts will continue for many months to come. 2015 was the hottest on record by a wide margin because of the combination of the exceptionally strong El Nino and global warming caused by greenhouse gases. BNP says the 58% devaluation of Venezuela's bolivar from 6.3 to 10 does not go nearly far enough, given that the black market rate is 1,029. This goes back to something in August 2015 that I wrote saying the end is nigh. Oil-based economies are going to contract. Currencies which have already collapsed are going to be routed. Greek-style austerity will be the order of the day. The meltdown is coming. This is part of it. I like this photograph again from World Press Photos. Citizen journalism in Brazil's favelas. Police patrol the streets of Vila Alianca, a favela near Complexo do Alentejo. Sub-Saharan Africa, political violence, malnutrition, and the looming threats of malaria and cholera have pushed Burundi to the brink of a major crisis. This is UNICEF. Before the crisis, the Global Hunger Index had already rated Burundi as the hungriest country in the world. What we have seen in the health arena, which is 58% reliant on external donors, is that there are cracks in the system, beginning with essential drugs. I wrote about these risks on the 4th of May 2015 when I spoke of Burundi and how spillover risks from the debacle loom. South African all share down 1.65% year to date. Dollar rand, the rand is higher on expectations of a rate hike. Egyptian EGX 30 minus 15.15% this year. Oil-rich Nigeria now can't afford to pay teachers, is a report in Bloomberg. When Nigerian President Buhari came to power in May, vowing to mend the economy, fight terrorism, and end corruption, Kola Karim was upbeat. Oil prices had sunk, but Buhari's arrival made him believe his company still had a chance to prosper in Africa's biggest crude producer. Karim's struggle mirrors that of the wider Nigerian economy, Africa's largest. His difficulties show the challenges faced by Buhari, who ruled Nigeria as a military strongman from 1983 to 1985. His task when he came to office was to push Nigeria to reform. Now he must help it survive. This week, the black market rate fell to a record 350 per dollar, 76% weaker than the official rate. Former central bank governor Mahamadou Sanusi in October told business leaders that Buhari and Emefiele were in denial over the currency. I couldn't agree more. Then finally concluding saying at $30 a barrel, there's no getting away from the fact it's going to be really tough. Have a look at the currency gap and have a look at the very poor performance of the stock market under Buhari as well. And look at this photograph 1 year ago of President Buhari when he was visiting Borno State. Look at the support he gave. On the 8th of February, I said it is just extraordinary that such a brilliant president would risk it all on a bet on a single number in a game of roulette. Those are the odds. I reckon Nigeria will contract in 2016, not least because its president is determined not to devalue the naira. The curve of history from Soros skinning the Bank of England in 1992 to the Mexican peso crisis in 1994 to the Thai baht crisis in 1998 and many more too numerous to mention confirm that maintaining an artificial foreign exchange rate is a fool's errand and eventually carries the risk that the breakdown spirals out of control and can become seriously disorderly. The official naira rate is just below 200 to the dollar, but no one is holding any store by that price. And that's why absolutely no one is putting any more money in Nigeria, because they all know when the haircut is finally imposed, it's going to be a big one. I find it extraordinary that such a brilliant president would risk it all on a bet, on a single number in a game of roulette. Those are the odds. Let me put up an image of the Nigerian naira. 15th of February, I said, like President Mahama, President Buhari has in fact one real option, and that is the IMF. He needs to dial up Madame Lagarde today. President Buhari received in an audience here with Pastor E.A. Adeboye, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Nigerian all shares down 15.29% this year. The Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index is down a marginal 0.13% this year. I like this photograph, the Gris-Gris wrestlers of Senegal, a tournament in the Adrian Senghor area. Wonderful photograph, again from World Press Photo 2016. Bit of a spat between Keystone, who previously owned 80% of Orient and had agreed to sell its shareholding to I&M, but instead sold a majority stake to Irish private equity firm 8 Miles LLP. The Irish firm was a minority shareholder of the Ugandan bank, but its purchase of Keystone's shares gave it a majority stake. I&M wrote a protest letter to the Nigerian regulator, which sparked investigations into Keystone, an action the Lagos-based lender says was unfair. Keystone also claims that the letter has jeopardized the planned offload of its Sierra Leone and Liberia subsidiaries in deals worth over $699 million. So a bit of a spat there. SEBCO says Kenya could be banned from the Olympics. World Athletics chief Sebastian Coe says the IAAF will not shirk from its duty to ban Kenya from the Olympics if the country is declared non-compliant by the World Anti-Doping Agency. British media report said on Thursday that will be a big hit, but I don't think Kenyans have got serious about this problem. Green Belt movement, Professor Matai's legacy ruins Karura Forest up for construction. Save Karura Forest. It is unbelievable that people keep coming back and trying the same thing. Kenya shilling 101.78. That's a 6-month high. Nairobi All Share down 3.94% this year. NSE 20 is down 5.84% this year. Longhorn Kenya Limited reports a plus 70.187% first half acceleration in profit after tax. Strong numbers, sales up 56.52%. Company saying the performance was largely driven by the success of the product diversification strategy, which saw Longhorn increase its income streams. Nairobi Securities Exchange last year signed deals to print and distribute reference materials such as dictionaries, Bibles, hymn books and charts, as it sought to reduce its reliance on textbook sales. Impressive results, I thought. Yesterday, Standard Group issued an official announcement via the Securities Exchange announcing a partnership with Radio Africa Limited on its Bamba TV platform. The partnership will join the heritage of content management expertise of KTN to the multiple international channels and countrywide distribution of the Bamba platform. Since Standard Group has surged 24% actually on 3 sessions, light volume, but nevertheless a good move. DTP closes a fresh 2016 high, big outperformer this year, up 9.09% year to date. EABL closed at a fresh 2016 high of 282. That's plus 3.296% this year. KenGen, whilst down 9.15% this year, has bounced 18.34% since closing at an all-time low on the 26th of January. Kenol Global closed at a 2016 high of 985 as well. And finally, Transcentury fell 3.33% to close at 580. Transcentury is minus 29.69% this year. The share price is intractably skeptical. Once again, thank you for stopping by. I wish you a tremendous weekend. We're going to take off for the weekend, come back on Sunday. We're excited. And then plenty of other excitement happening here as well. So trying to push the dial, and I think we have a little bit. So thank you. Thanks for the support. I thoroughly appreciate it.